Hello, just continuing there on in our series, and I thought that an interesting one for this video, I might just talk about any of the stories or any of the fights or disputes or any of the kind of local guys talking about stuff from the past that they heard or hearsay. So work away. Have you any stories there?
Yeah, a lot of the fights that I would remember would have been at the local fair days, which were they were held once every month. There was a fair, and that's where payment would be made for maybe turfs, when people cut their turf, and they would make the payments to the owners, and there would be money changing hands. There would be drink involved, but there also would be grudges settled because there was clans, a lot of clans, like our name, like would be very popular in our area, where in the next there would be, there'd be each small area had large, there were large families, like in most places, and a row might start off for something very simple, like, and there would be a lot of injuries, but there was no people treated themselves.
Okay.
That was it. They just took their beating and went away home with their tail between their legs. So yeah, that was the way it was. Like times were simple. There was no guards as such. There was no law. Law was a bit, you made your own law.
Okay.
And yeah. Now, some of the sticks would be better for, some of the men would be well trained at stick fighting, because their parents and their families would have been renowned for it. So they were the ones that you wouldn't be picking fights with. You'd avoid them anyway, right, unless there was enough of your own to sort them out. Like, but yeah, no, they were interesting. Like.
Okay.
For now, we enjoyed her. Even if there was sometimes the women would start fighting as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, the women, yes, they would, because they're the ones that give you the false one when you be maybe in the middle of it. They'll come behind you and give you the clout with it. It was a short type of a stick, like like a more of a little sort of a cudgel, they call them here.
Yeah.
Oh, lads, and that was it. Fellas would be knocked out cold. And anyway, it'd make me hard to knock some because I'm already half drunk anyway.
Sure, it'd be like reminiscence of, like, they'd make bread with some little stick. They'd probably be used to.
Oh, the rolling, yeah, the rolling.
Maybe pins. That was it. Maybe that's where it came from. The woman with the rolling pin hitting you.
Pin, yeah. But this was it. Oh no, that was it. Well, you see, some of the women were sort of they were the stronger force in the family, like, because they kept it all together with large families. Like, they were the bosses in a lot of occasions, like. Because the payments sometimes would be made to them for with whatever turf and fuel and eggs and that. Because if the men got it, they might be inclined to spend it all on drink.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like, so there's history there of kind of like disputes. There's good stories about people and families that were pretty good at the fight, and they didn't want to mess with. A lot of it was to do with business dealings as well. I have a quick question. Was it the women used to be breaking up it or joining at the start, or are they trying to?
The women live. They did have it. It'd be going well. They were the ones that finished it. Okay. When everyone was sort of half unconscious and knocked out, they would go around and but they they wouldn't fight each other.
Yeah.
They respected for some reason. No, it was any of the ones that they had a dispute or thought it was unfair. If they saw an unfair fight, they would win, and when they'd get a sly stroke at the person that didn't like it.
Okay, so it wasn't their own husband; it'd be someone else.
Yeah. Oh no, there'd be family. It'd be more. They'd stick with the family. Like, that's the term, the clan. You see, a very clannish, which means you stuck. You were. Everyone stuck with their own family clan.
All right, okay. And did you ever witness any of these kind of fights around fair days yourself?
Oh, I did, of course. I saw loads of them. I saw later in life. I saw a lot of them. Yeah. Okay. And there would have been a lot of injuries with them. Yeah. That's right.
And was it just locals, or was it traders coming in?
I might have even got a scalp myself. I have a mark somewhere. I don't know where, somewhere there. Yeah. And I think that I remember getting hit with a Blackthorn there once, and the mark is still there, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Can you see?
It does. I see there's a bit of a bump there as well.
Yeah. That was it. So, yeah, that was it. That's sort of
okay.
Part of the history.
Did you deserve it at the time?
Well, look at it. It's most of them fights like you wouldn't say because you were. It was like a justice type thing, like someone did you wrong, and you know you had to. You couldn't let people walk over you. Like a lot of disputes would have been about land and property, and you know there were sort of lawless times, shall we say, and you sorted out your own problems and things went on, and that was it. And often after a fight, then you went to the local pub and you had a drink and shook hands, and everything was all right until the next time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. It was, you know.
So it was more like to just settle disputes and resolve them rather than like as a sport or an event. Then that from your memory.
Oh
anyway.
yes, no, it wasn't a sport at all. No, it was not. But obviously, people would use them then as walking aids as well, because when you're dealing with animals and cattle, you needed, you know, you had to have a stick carried around with you to protect yourself and to move, and especially with bulls and, you know, large animals. Okay. And ground being soft too as well. When you walk around on soft ground, like the old stick was very handy to. But the sticks that time would be very sturdy, most of them. They'd be fairly strong, you know, maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. So there were big sticks. Also, there was the staffs as well, you see. There was the large ones for, you know, hiking, you used to call it now, but that time it was just, there were walking sticks. Yeah. And there were, you know, if you maybe fell into a river or a hole or somewhere, you could save yourself by, you know, pushing, you'd reach the bottom somewhere and push yourself out.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. There was a lot of uses for sticks, like, because you know what else protection? You couldn't carry a gun with you. There was no guns as such that time, and we had no bow and arrows in Ireland or anything like that. You know. So yes, and hatchets and stuff were only used for shaping the one. You wouldn't carry them with you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. Yeah. No, it was a good old time to live, like, you know.
Yeah.
Times were simple, and you made your own sport. And oh yes, we forgot that football matches. Then that would be another time when the rows would start as well. There were Gaelic matches, like, and there were 15 a side, and they could be pretty rough because of the different little local clubs trying to sort out grievances from past battles and stuff.
Was it usually after the match or before the match?
Oh, after the match, you know. No, the match would go ahead, but then there'd be a bit of heckling and stuff going on after it, and one war would lead to another, and you'd usually, there'd always be a few then leaders, or sort of, they were called men. They'd be for separating the fights. Then there was these lads who would be fair play boys, they call them the fair play ones, and they would take no sides to just try and settle all disputes and let people go about their business till the next time.
Okay, and did they ever get hit, or were they just kind of seen as the guys?
Oh no, you didn't hit them. They were like, you know, there was a bit of respect for them because they were fair play boys.
Okay.
Yeah, they were, you know, they were renowned too. Them type, it'd be like, he'd be the head of a clan, and he would respect, and he wouldn't side with anyone.
Would they be older lads or younger?
They'd be the older fellas, like. But their voice was their strongest part, because they knew how to shut you up fast, like. Yeah,
that's quite interesting. All right, okay, we'll leave this one at there today anyway. Thanks for that.